I've got a question you probably can't answer directly, but how cool of an idea is this whole thing to start with anyway?
Let me see.
I mean, I think
I
it's
So cool.
yeah, yeah. Hi guys, and welcome to the first ever Q&A for Protagonist, the gift book writing company that I started last year. As you probably know, I'm Zosima, founder and head writer at Protagonist, and my co-host is Valerie, the head illustrator at Protagonist. Before we go to live questions, I'm going to go through and answer the top 10 frequently asked questions about Protagonist, and then it'll just be a free-for-all with whatever live questions we have for either me or Valerie or both of us. Okay, the top 10 questions about Protagonist. Number one, what the heck is Protagonist? I added the heck, but it's usually implied when people ask me about it. So, what is Protagonist? Protagonist is a gift writing business that writes, illustrates, and publishes storybooks starring you or your loved ones as the main characters. I like to think of it as the antidote to forgettable gifts. So each client, which often is a parent or grandparent, chooses the general details of their gift book, including the page count, genre, story setting, and most importantly, the protagonist. Question number two, how long are protagonist books? Protagonist offers three book lengths, 20, 30, and 40 pages. I recommend the 20 pager for individual children and toddlers. I recommend the 30 pager for multiple protagonists and individual teenage and young adult protagonists. The 40 pagers I recommend for adult protagonists and multiple teens or adult protagonists. Question number three, how do I get a protagonist book? On our website, protagonistbook.com, you click the Buy Now button and choose your book length, genre, story setting, and also put down some preliminary info about the protagonist. Question number four, what happens after I purchase a protagonist book? After you buy the book, I contact you via email and work with you to outline the best possible story for your protagonist. Then, once you've approved the story, I write it. Valerie illustrates it, and after you've approved the final story, I publish it and send however many copies of the finished book you want to your door. Question number five, how long does it take to make a protagonist book? Purchase to delivery time is approximately 2 weeks. Sometimes it is shorter, sometimes longer, depending on the volume of projects, page count, and number of illustrations. Question number six, how are the illustrations made? Well, after I write the book, I send Valerie my detailed ideas for the illustrations. Then she hand draws them in her studio. And once approved, she scans them to me and I format them into the final book. Anything you want to add to that, Valerie, about your artistic process?
So part of what we do when I make the illustrations is I try to do whatever style the person wants. I did an anime inspired one recently for the mystery story that we did, and I am a very adaptable artist. I make art in pretty much any form that I can. When I'm, making the concept, I usually do these ugly little drawings and then the little thumbnails, and then I send them to Z and to sometimes the people, depending on how involved with that process they want to be for, picking which one they like better and all that business. And then I'll do a bigger sketch depending on how many there are and what we've discussed and what style it is. Will I do black and white? Will I do pencil or ink? And sometimes it's very important that there's color, and so you get paint. I go, can you see? They go from this to this, and it's easy. This was not easy. This was one of the like toughest ones I think I've done, but also I think it's one of the ones I'm the most proud of so far. So this has really pushed me into doing things that I want to learn about and giving me an excuse to actually do those styles.
All right. Question number seven. How many protagonists can be in one protagonist book? So how many of your loved ones can you put into one book? I'd say for the 20-page and 30-page stories, that 3 is a pretty good limit. Though in the 40 pagers, I can probably get away with 4. I've only ever written for 3, but I could imagine doing 4. Question number 8. Are protagonist books only for kids? No. Actually, half of the protagonist books that I've written have been for teens. And the second protagonist book I ever wrote was for a adult, so not just for kids. Question number 9. Is there an audio option available for my protagonist book? Not yet, but I'm working on it. Question number 10. What is the most popular protagonist genre and story length? The most popular genre has been fantasy, with adventure coming close second, and the most popular book length has been the 30-pager, which is probably my favorite book length to write because it gives me more time to actually develop the story and add in more stuff. It's not only the most popular, but it's also my favorite. Now, if any of you have questions yourself, please either raise your hand or raise your digital hand, and Valerie and I can answer them. John, I see your hand up.
I was looking for my digital hand. Ah, dagnabbit, I ought to find it somewhere. Um, I'm curious, how do you decide, or how is what's the decision process for how many illustrations you're going to feature in a book?
Oh, yeah, good question. On the website, one of the first things after you've chosen your book length, you'll find a drop-down menu which allows you to decide if you want 1 or 3 or 5 illustrations or none. You can choose to have none. People usually choose to have 1 or 3.
I've got a question you probably can't answer directly, but how cool of an idea is this whole thing to start with anyway?
Let me see.
I mean, I think
I,
it's
So cool.
yeah, yeah.